Hello boys, in this video I'm going to explain the Creditors Journal to you. Okay, so what this journal is about is that businesses can also buy goods on credit. What this means is that when the business purchases something, they do not pay immediately. Thus, they are buying on account and they owe money. If we owe money to someone, we call this person a creditor. A creditor is a liability to the business because we still need to pay them back eventually. If we buy on credit, the document that we will receive from a creditor will not be a receipt because we haven't paid. We will receive an invoice. And this transaction or these transactions must be recorded in what we call the Creditors Journal. The following transactions were given to you. Then you would see at the bottom of the page is a Creditors Journal that looks like this. The Creditors Journal looks very, very similar to the CPJ. You would notice that the only difference is that this column, the main column, is now called Creditors Control and not bank. Let's look at the transactions one by one. It says, check the transactions that have taken place for Lakeview Restaurant for April 2006 and follow the entries in the Creditors Journal below. The first transaction was on the 3rd of April and it said, we received an invoice. So this immediately tells you that it's a CJ transaction for repairs to the air conditioner for 300 Rand from Airwaves Limited, who is our creditor number 1. Their invoice number 66 must be renumbered to invoice number 10. Something that is special about the Creditors Journal is that we always renumber the invoices we receive from creditors. The reason why is because we want the invoice numbers to follow on each other. And if we receive different invoices from different companies, the numbers will be all mixed up. You just need to remember to use it. So if we take this first transaction to the CJ, it will look like this. The document will be invoice number 10 because we use the renumbered invoice number, not invoice number 66. Be careful. The date is the 3rd. The creditor's name is Airwaves Limited. The creditor's number will go to the folio column, just like with the debtors journal. Creditor number 1. The total amount of the invoice will always go to Creditors Control and somewhere else. Very similar to the CPJ where it always went to bank and somewhere else. So in this case, it's 300 Rand goes to Creditors Control. And then we have to specify what the 300 Rand was for. In this case, it was for repairs. Okay, but there's no repairs column, so we just take it to sundry accounts. And if you look at your general ledger on the next page, you will see that repairs is nominal account number 2. On the 5th, it says we purchase meat from Brad Butchers C2, on account. So the words on account indicates that it's CJ for 650 Rand and receive the invoice number 880. Okay, but remember, we won't use this. We will use a renumbered invoice number 11 because the previous renumbered invoice was number 10. It will be invoice number 11 on the 5th. The creditor's name is Brad's Butchers. It's creditor number 2. The invoice was 650 Rand. And because we bought meat and we've got a restaurant, it is considered to be trading inventory. We buy coffee on account from BB Coffees. Creditor number 3 for 150 Rand, and we receive the invoice. So if we receive an invoice, it indicates that it's a CJ transaction. The date is the 10th. The creditor is BB Coffees. Creditor number 3. The value must go to creditor's control, and coffee for a restaurant is considered to be trading inventory. On the 12th, we receive an invoice, this indicates that it's CJ, from Speedy C4 for documents couriered. The amount is 60 Rand and their invoice number is number 120. But you know that we won't use this 120. We will use a renumbered invoice number, which will be number 13. Invoice number 13 on the 12th for Speedy. Creditor number 4. The value of the invoice must go to creditor's control, 60 Rand, and it's documents couriered. Now, if you look at your general ledger on the next page, you will see that we've got an expense account called courier. So it will go to sundry accounts, and the folio will be N3. On the 20th, we buy stationery from C&A, creditor number 5, and receive their invoice. And that tells you that it's a CJ transaction. The invoice is for 80 Rand and the account to be paid within 30 days. Don't worry about this last little section. Okay, it just tells you that you bought on account and you need to settle that within 30 days. It will be the next invoice number in the line, invoice number 14. On the 20th, from C&A, creditor number 5. The value of the invoice is 80 Rand, and stationery will go to the stationery column, 80 Rand. And then right at the end, you need to remember to just total your columns. And if you add all of these together, they will equal the total of the creditor's control column.